Welcome to Breakfast with Spaniels with Dr. Judy Morgan.
Morning, Sonia. Stephanie. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Kate May.
Remember, you can purchase all of Dr. Morgan's
Haven't been there for a while.
on her website at www.drjudymorgan.com. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Okay, so it is a beautiful day here today. It has been so hot and humid. For those of you who follow my personal page, you saw my picture of my hair and the new conditioner that I bought to try to tame it down. It's working pretty well. So, pretty happy with it so far. Anyway, it's beautiful this morning. We've been having storms roll through, and this morning I went outside and went, oh my gosh, there's no humidity. I can breathe out here, which that takes a lot around here. It's pretty humid, and New Jersey was humid too. Just North Carolina takes it a step above. But the interesting thing is poor Shayna, she's our one who struggles the most with the syringomyelia and the caudal occipital malformation syndrome and scoliosis and, all the issues with her spine and joints, and she's just kind of a twisted mess. And so on her best day, she doesn't walk real well. But this morning, my mom said, wow, Shayna's walking really well this morning. And I kind of said the same thing. Like, she went outside and she was actually running, which she has a hard time running and generally can't do stairs at all. And she was actually trying to come up the front 3 steps, got about halfway up, which is pretty amazing. She has been much better since we started her on the PEA, which is a great natural anti-inflammatory. We've managed to take her off gabapentin and omeprazole and all the drugs that she used to take for the disease. But the humidity dropped and her mobility is completely different. Dogs with, and I have videos on this from 2 houses ago, so the videos are at least 6 or 7 years old, where I showed Shayna on a really hot, humid day where she was really struggling. And when she's at her worst, she actually drags at least one of the back legs, if not both. So the weather makes a huge difference. And I used to have to resort to giving her a little dose of steroids when she would get that bad. She hasn't been that bad in a long time. But the humidity going down, she's having a great day. She's feeling really good. Today would be a great day to take her outside to play a bit. But I saw another post this morning and thought I had a blog on it, but then went to search for it to share with this person, and I do not. So guess what I'll be writing? With TCVM, how does summer heat correlate with colitis and IBD? And it's really interesting when you Google that for human, or search engine for human IBD and summer. Don't even put in TCM, just put in why is colitis worse in the summer, and there are a whole bunch of human studies. And it's interesting because these were human studies that weren't from Chinese medicine, they were just traditional medicine, and they were like, yes, there's a huge correlation. Heat and humidity and colitis is worse, or Crohn's disease flares are worse. Well, if those traditional people would step across the fence and look at it from a Chinese medicine standpoint and look at the elements, it makes perfect sense. So we've got an animal or a person with a hot problem. Inflammatory bowel disease. Well, just by saying the word inflammatory, you are indicating heat, because when you look up the definition of inflammation, it'll say heat and redness, swelling. So when we have a hot problem, an underlying hot problem, and then we turn up the heat under that problem, it gets worse. So when we take an animal or a human who has colitis or inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, any of those, really any itis, it can be much worse when the heat and the humidity gets up, because a lot of those bowel problems are a damp heat. So now we've got heat, we add the humidity, we're turning up the damp, we're turning up the heat, voila, problems. So, and it's really interesting because when you look at traditional veterinary medicine articles on the subject, it's all about, well, yes, parvovirus is much worse in the summer. Well, it is, because the virus survives and transmits a lot better in the summer. We need that heat and humidity to transfer these viruses around in a really effective manner. Dogs can get, no, I'm talking humans. I mean, they get basically inflammatory bowel disease for the Crohn's. Person says, I get issues in the summer. I'm sure dogs have to feel the same. They do. So definitely drool. Okay. So we do have an herb for the inflammatory bowel disease. There's an herb on our website called Coptis, which is a very cold herb, and it's used to treat that hot diarrhea. It's very effective, and studies have shown that Coptis is, in human studies, it is actually more effective than metronidazole. So we were talking about metronidazole not too long ago, but it can cause neurologic side effects. So why not avoid the neurologic side effects? For Shayna, a dose of metronidazole causes her to be paralyzed for about 3 days. One dose will do that to her. So we really want to find alternative methods to deal with this. So if you have an animal who's prone to heat problems, you want to use those cooling foods in the summer. This is a good time to be changing up those proteins. If you normally feed turkey, which is sort of neutral, maybe we need to go to something that's even colder. Maybe go to rabbit or alligator or a cold water fish like cod. Is it normal when you change protein and brands for them to throw up? Nope. I can change. Our guys eat something different every meal, and they don't vomit. Actually, Shayna vomited up a little bit yesterday in the middle of the day, which is highly unusual. Our dogs don't vomit, and Shayna never vomits. So no clue what caused it, but it was a one-time deal. So, yep, ditch the kibble. Ditch the kibble in the summer, because kibble adds to damp heat. So, okay, I'll get a blog written on summer heat issues one of these days. I think I do have something in my syringomyelia blog about how it affects these dogs with the summer heat and humidity and the storms. Decent rabbit and alligator food brands. I don't, off the top of my head, know any alligator ones. I've got a couple of people who are having alligator shipped to them and cooking their own alligator. Rabbit, I've used Primal, Stella and Chewy's, Vital Essentials. There's some decent rabbit foods out there. Okay. Yeah, Neely says she keeps Coptis on hand. Yeah, watermelon is cooling too. Two dogs vomited when the heat got bad near the 4th of July. Exactly. The name of the herb is Coptis. I just typed it in. Okay. I got to get going to the farm, and we got to take Hugh's car in for an oil change, and I don't know, just stuff. Writing. Duck is cold. Yep. Small batch has rabbit. Thank you, Deb. You order alligator from your butcher. Julia, that's great. Local farm market to see if you can get rabbit. Yeah, I know in New Jersey we could get it at the little Amish markets. Yeah, Gene, the Coptis is on the site. Yeah, everything's going up in price. That's just the way it is. Bad, bad, bad.